I think there were some bits in the middle that definitely could have been cut because I have it on audio, paperback and ebook now, which is ridiculous. This was my Daisy pick for February. Like, I don't know what the f***'s going on, but I'm loving it, so. Hello, my angels. Welcome back to another video. My name is Ro, and today we are having a bit of a catch-up in terms of a February wrap-up and a March TBR. Now, before I get into this video, I would like to point out I do have a swollen top lip. I have not had lip filler. You know, I never plan on getting lip filler. I might in the future, who knows, but like right now I do not. For everyone who knows what's been going on with me, I've been quite stressed to do with my job and exams, and this time, or this kind of time of my life, it has come out in the form of hives. Now, I basically have a hive that has appeared just here, like just on my top lip. But we're going to attempt to ignore it, and it doesn't look that bad, but it just makes me look like I've had lip filler. I just want everyone to know I've not gone out and got it just randomly. There is obviously nothing wrong with lip filler, but I don't think I am the type of person that it would suit. Clearly, looking at this right now, this situation looks very strange. But anyway, I am basically here to tell you guys that TBRPG is not going to happen this month. Basically, I think a lot of you know from past videos and stuff that I've been putting out on Twitter or in general, but if you don't know, just to reiterate, those people who are not sure why I'm not uploading loads or 3 times a week like I usually do, basically, I nearly lost my job because I failed one of my accountancy professional exams. It's not actually at professional level. People who know, it's one of the certificate level ones. But exam policies for accountancy in general, don't know if this is worldwide, but at least in the UK, like, policies can be quite strict. They have given me another chance to resit it, and I'm planning on resitting it on the 14th of March. This is the reason why I'm not uploading very often, and the reason why I've not planned out stuff for my Patreon. I've just been doing random stuff for my Patreon in March, or at least for the first 2 weeks. That's just out the way. Just to reiterate, that is why I'm not uploading loads, and hence why I'm not doing TBRPG this month. And basically this video is just going to be a bit of a chat and a bit of an update and just a bit of a chill time. I'm going to tell you about the 2 books that I read in February, and I'm going to talk you through kind of all the books that I'm in the middle of that I plan to finish off in March. And if there's time, or if I feel like I can get to something, I might pull a deity pick from my jar. May do some of that later on in the video, see how I feel. And I don't actually know where I have put the books that I've already read. So, I've just spotted one. So, first of all, in February, I did attempt to take part in Polathon. In fact, my exam result came out to me on the 2nd day of Polathon. So in the first day of Polathon, I managed to read the Polar Bear Explorers Club. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I thought this was enjoyable. I didn't think it was like anything really super special. It was definitely more on the end of a 3.75 to 4 stars. It did come out as exactly 4, I think, on Corepile. The newest iteration of Corepile does give out half stars, but this was an exact 4. Execution maybe was not as good as the idea. I liked the whimsy of the world. I really liked the idea that there were fairies and all sorts of different creatures going on. I did feel that some of it was a bit rushed in places. I felt like some bits could have been shorter, where other bits could have been longer, especially kind of the climax of like danger near the end with the castle. I do feel like that could have been extended. I think they tried to fit maybe too many things into it, or too many like stops along the way of the quest. It felt very much like Percy Jackson in that regard. Like when I reread Percy Jackson last year, or like 2 years ago, I was reading them and I felt like all the stops that are happening on the way, like the Lotus Casino and that, happened over like 2 pages, and it's just very short from what I remember. So I didn't feel like it needed to have either that many stops, or like, I don't know, some bits should have been longer than others, basically. And I liked the premise, I liked the characters. One of the characters, to me, could have not been there and it would have made a difference, and that's Shay, the wolf guy. I think he was just there for plot reasons. He made absolutely 0 difference to everything else. Did not care about him. Really loved Beanie, And I did actually really like Ethan as well. I liked his little redemption arc that he had in this book, so this was solid. I'm obviously like still kind of making my foray into middle grade. I have not read loads. I could probably count on one hand the series that I have read. So I'm still trying my best. I have lots that have been gifted to me, so I'm hoping whilst I'm having difficult times throughout the year, like this recent exam and the later exams in the year, that I can kind of just get through some middle grade and not like task myself to read really big books, which I have done near the beginning of this year, and hence which is why I'm struggling to get through my TBRs at the beginning of this year at least. This was a good kind of palette cleanser. I did enjoy it, and I'm planning on continuing. I did really like the world, and Meg from 12 Books a Day, who is the most amazing person ever, I love her so much, she has gifted me the 2 sequels because she's fab and she's one of my deities on Patreon as well, so I'm really excited to continue the series. And then the only other book that I did manage to read in February was 6 Crimson Cranes, and this is the lovely fairy edition. Just show this off for you, this under the dust jacket, and the art, it is really nice. Honestly, Fairy really knock it out of the park with their editions 99% of the times. Even recently, like the first 2 editions from this year have been really good. I'm actually very pleased. However, the content of the picks has not been as good for me in 2021 at least. So this is the 4th book, I think, from the 2021 picks that I've read from Fairy, and 3 out of the 4 I gave 2.5 stars. This one actually was a 3.5 exactly on Corpile. I talked through this extensively with my patrons, my deities here, because this was our pick for the Deity Book Club, which is exclusive to that top tier on my Patreon. We had a little live show, had a little chat, and I went through and rated it on Corpile with them and like talk them through my ratings in real time. Yeah, man, I feel like the execution just wasn't super good. I feel like the idea was amazing, and I do feel like the world was fairly well built. I think there could have been a bit more detail, but there wasn't, you know, I wasn't too mad at it. I think the writing style itself definitely helped. The writing is very beautiful, very lyrical, very prosy, so to speak, and I quite like that in a writing style. I'm quite fond of that, so that definitely helped with the rating. The execution of the actual sort of, I want to say like writing elements of it, so like even like the logic I think was the lowest rating for me on this, because in this, and this is not a spoiler, just to put it out there, she does have, as part of the curse, she has a bowl kind of covering half of her face, so it covers pretty much like kind of like from here upwards. Like I don't think it covers all of her nose, but like the tip of her nose up. She has this entire bowl over the top of her head, so people can't see her eyes, okay? They've not seen her eyes, they cannot see them the whole time. There is no point at which the bowl comes off her head where anyone could see her eyes. And throughout the book there were small things that were saying like, oh, he noticed her glancing at him, his gaze met hers, and just things like this where I was like, that's not physically possible, and it really took me out of it. But for me that is like an editing issue, it's not, and like kind of like a writing issue that can like definitely be learned out of, if that makes sense. Like there wasn't anything inherently wrong with her writing, so to speak, Elizabeth Lim's writing. It was just like those logical things that kind of should have been caught in editing that I'm almost forgiving her for, because it's just like, well, you know, someone should have caught that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really blame her for that, because like we all are human, we all make mistakes, like logical mistakes like that. Her actual writing style I really liked. So it was just like things like that that really took me out of it. I think there were some bits in the middle that definitely could have been cut. This part where she's at the castle went on for way too long. We actually don't spend a lot of time with other characters. We didn't spend a lot of time with her brothers, which made me not really sympathetic to her cause, because the whole point of it is that her brothers have been cursed to turn into cranes and she can't speak and she's got a bowl on her head and all this rubbish. And I do feel like some of the plot was extremely predictable, but I almost forgave that side of it because I really liked the world and the ideas that were going on. It was just the plot was not, you know, the most sophisticated, which is fine. Like, it doesn't always have to be. You can have a fun time with it anyway. I didn't feel much sympathy for her brothers because I didn't get to see much of them or like get to know them that well before the curse happened, so it was a 3.5. Better than a 3. 3 is probably one of the lowest ratings I can give most of the time. I rarely rate below 2.5 because I'm quite, I don't know, I'm critical, but I'm not like, I don't usually hate things loads because I tend to pick things that I want to pick up, if that makes sense. This was fine. I think it was slightly better than fine. That's where the 3.5 comes in. It was just slightly better than fine. I definitely am intrigued by the sequel though, which is why I'm definitely gonna purchase the Fairy Loot sequel. And it's beautiful. So not much else to say on that. So that was the end of my February wrap up, hence why I'm going to talk you guys through now a sort of March plan. Not really a TBR, I'm just going to tell you like kind of everything I've already started and everything I kind of want to read soon. Like I may actually not get to these things in March that I'm saying, but I want to get to them soon, if that makes sense. So we do have a top priority book, and that is The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. And I am currently, I think, about 200 pages in. I do have like 300 pages left. I have like 4.5 hours of the audiobook left, basically. And I'm hoping to listen to some of that tonight being Friday, and then some of it tomorrow being Saturday, in time for the Bone Ships live show. Please do check out the links in the description to the Backlist Book Club. This is mainly hosted by Cassidy over by Covers with Cass, and she asked me, Jade, and Bex from Bewitched Bex to join in with her. This so far, I'm probably like nearly halfway through. Honestly, nothing super special about it so far. I wouldn't say I'm super intrigued. The writing style is unique. I'm a little bit like, I like the Lucky Mies. She's one of the main characters basically. Do like her. Honestly, nothing special about the main character so far, but I'm hoping that the plot will kind of pick up past the halfway point. It's fine. I actually kind of regret buying the paperback though, because I have it on audio paperback and ebook now, which is ridiculous. It's okay so far. I'm hoping it'll pick up. I hope it'll be better, but you'll see more of my thoughts tonight, like probably in like an hour after this video goes out, so intrigue for about an hour's time. The next sort of priority for me is going to be Hero of Ages by Brandy Sandy. This is the third book in the Mistborn trilogy. I did start it. This was my deity pick for February? It was my first ever deity pick, and it was Kendra's pick. I am 25% of the way through this. I did start this in February. I do want to put this out there. I did just fail my exam though, so I got very, I did not read anything basically in February, as you have just seen. So I'm planning on finishing this kind of first thing as soon as I get my exam out the way. I am doing a spoilery vlog for this for my Patreon as well, so I'm super excited to finish this. It's going really well so far. I'm really enjoying it, but I just wanted to let everyone know like that is my priority currently. I am in the middle of it. I am planning on finishing it as soon as I can in essence, because hopefully this will be finished tomorrow, and then whenever I'm reading next week, when I'm not revising, I basically will be reading Hero of Ages like a little bit here and there. So Kendra, I promise you it's coming. The next sort of priority for me is House of Sky and Breath. Again, I am 208 pages into this. I am about to start chapter 19. Started this as soon as it came, and then I failed my exam, or before, I don't know when it came actually. It came like after I failed my exam, but I was keeping on top of all my revision even when I didn't know I was allowed to retake it again, just in case. Again, another one that's going fine. I wouldn't say I'm super intrigued yet, but I'm enjoying it anyway because I really like the characters. The first book really hit home with me, and I really love the first book, so I'm just enjoying it regardless because I like the world and I like the characters. Not much else to say yet, but I am recording a spoilery vlog for the main channel, i.e. this channel, for you guys, and I still need to update it actually for what I've read so far. I think I've done one update so far, and it was up to page like 100. So I do need to do an update for however far I've got in now, because there's some stuff has actually happened that I need to update and I forgot to. But hopefully that will be coming after, like maybe end of this month, because I am planning on kind of what I'm talking you through now is like my priority list for what I'm getting to, and it's clearly everything I've already fucking started. So we do have House of Sky and Breath on there as well. Currently in March, I'm probably going to finish The Bone Ships first. That's probably going to be the first book that I do finish. And then Hero of Ages, and then this, so that's 3 so far. Then I'm currently reading Mad Ship, which was on my either January or February TBR. I think it was February. I did actually start it. I am 40% of the way through. So I'm actually not doing too badly on this one. It's just slow going as I am just listening to The Bone Ships now instead of listening to Mad Ship. I kind of have an audiobook on the go all of the time. So Mad Ship has kind of been going in the background as like a go-to read when I'm like lying in bed or something and I can't be asked to do anything else. So Mad Ship's going well. Intrigue is always super high for Robin Hobb. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm loving it. So Mad Ship is going well, 40% in. I'm hoping to finish that before the end of the month, as it'll be my audiobook after the Bone Ships. Like, it'll be my next audiobook, kind of on the back burner as well. So I should be able to finish it theoretically. I don't think it'll take that long. It's a long fucking book though. It's 900 pages. So if you think about it, 40% of that, 380 pages, 400 pages, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's like more than half the books that I read most of the time. So I've read a lot of it, okay? I've read a lot of pages. In Polathon as well, I did actually start The Girl Who Speaks Bear, which was gifted to be my Catherine, if I remember correctly. Yes, Catherine from my Patreon. Thanks, Catherine. I'm not very far in, but I am enjoying it so far. I just started this after the Polar Bear Explorers Club. I tried to start it for Polathon, but I didn't really get around to it. I was just reading it on my commute to work, and obviously I didn't get very far. This is going to be one that's kind of in the back burner as well, just like reading a bit here and there, because it's quite quick and it's a middle grade, so it'll be quite fast. I was going to say short. I mean, it's kind of short compared to Mad Ship, I guess it's short. But I really enjoy it so far. I think I'm really connecting with Yanka. I think she's just lovely and I love her so much. So I'm really enjoying this one so far as well. Really love the cover with the bear there, and again, I'm just loving middle grade, loving some polar fantasy middle grade as well. Hoping to get through like a lot of middle grade this year. It's going to be kind of like my new obsession, I think. But this is another one that's on the back burner that's just kind of happening in the background, and one that I just want to finish it off this month. I have quite a few things to finish off, clearly, but I think I can do it with 2 weeks. Like, I'll have 2 weeks of March left, maybe a little bit more. And I am moving house. I think like during the moving element of things, I will probably finish Mad Ship very quickly at that point. And actually, speaking of audiobooks, I do actually need to get to Little Thieves, because this is the Liam Crate version, but this is the pick for my Patreon bi-monthly book club. This was the January to February pick, and the live show is having to end up being near the end of March, only just because of A, my resit, and then B, I'm moving house just after I do my resit. So the live show is being at the end of March is gonna allow me to like have a bit more time to read this. The Patreon live shows aren't usually that late after, you know, the whole of January and February, like that kind of thing, but my patrons are amazing and they're not, you know, they don't mind, they're letting me get away with it. So actually Meg, speaking of Meg, 12 Books a Day, she really recommends the audiobook for this. So I may go ahead and purchase that. I've got a couple of credits on Audible. I may go ahead and get that just after I finish Mad Ship, because I feel like I'm going to get through it very quickly if I have it on audio, especially with the move and everything, having to clean the house, blah, 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 I know all this. So I feel like that's going to be a really good way to get through this audiobook. And I've just heard really good things about the audiobook as well in general, especially from Meg. So super excited for this one. This is sort of lower priority until later on in the month, but it's still gotta happen. And I'm excited. I'm actually really excited for this one. I've heard really good things. It's gonna go well. I'm kind of like leaving everything to one side that I'm planning to read in March, because obviously I'm gonna have to pack all of my books away and I'm probably not gonna have loads of time to unpack them the other end. And I do want to film that and do like a physical TBR with you guys and like go through it and show you everything I have. So yeah, that's gonna be fun, right guys? For you, maybe not for me. But it is a video I've been planning on doing for a while, my physical TBR, but she never got around to it, and then I realised, oh, it would be perfect to kind of go through it as I was unboxing them and putting them on the TBR shelf / carts. So that's a lot. I do obviously have a lot more I do want to read, as always. I do actually have still Where the Drowned Girls Go. I have not read this yet. This was actually gifted to me by Mads recently, who is one of my patrons. I forgot that I didn't buy this and I just put it on my wish list, and I still haven't got around to it yet because I feel like I really want to be in a good mood for this, and it's probably my most anticipated book of the year, so I'm scared. But I've been putting it off, and I'm hoping maybe I can read this as self-care like straight after my exam on the 14th or something, maybe. Now let's move on to talking about Book Box Battle, because in the month of January I received, well actually I received them quite late, not even in January, but I did receive my Fairy Loot and my Illuma Crate books, and that was This Woven Kingdom for Illumicrate and Only a Monster for Fairy Loot. I am planning on doing a book box battle just for these 2 books as soon as I can. Basically, my other things are a priority at the moment, all the ones that I've kind of gone through with you, in particular my deity pick from Kendra, in particular just House of Sky and Breath because I really want to read it, and just finishing off things. However, this one's quite short. This one's a bit longer, but it feels like it could like read quite quickly maybe. I'm hoping to get to these probably near the end of March is when I'm going to think it's going to happen. And then maybe the last week of March or the first couple of weeks of April is when it'll come out. Like the vlog anyway, so to speak. So these 2 are like in the background then of what I'm thinking about reading next after like kind of finishing off everything I'm currently reading, basically. So there's that as well. Just thought I'd mention that. Not that I need to put more things on my TBR, but this is just kind of everything I'm planning on reading soon enough, if that makes sense. As well though, I do actually really want to get to Never Let Me Go very soon because this was my gifted pick from the February TBR, so this is still also on my radar kind of coming up. It's quite short. I feel like I could pick it up in between quite a lot of my big audiobooks and big books going on, especially after my exam. Again, I know I keep referring to after my exam, but I cannot concentrate on basically anything whilst I revise. I'm kind of a very one-track mind, very focused person, and I can't focus on anything other than that when I'm doing it. So I do still have this on my radar. As well, I do still want to read I Hear the Sunspot, the entire kind of manga series. There's only 5 of them, 6 of them. 5? 5. Spoops gifted me every single one of these, so I am planning this for a vlog still at some point. Again, I shouldn't really be filming this before my exam because I don't know how it's gonna go, but basically if my exam goes fine, then these are all the plans that are in place for me. I am planning on doing much more with Patreon towards the back end of March if you are someone who's joined recently, or even if you are someone who hasn't joined yet. It's kind of March is happening and everything's gonna happen. It's just gonna all happen at the tail end of March instead of kind of spread out throughout March. So that is how things are happening at the moment for me. I do obviously have the sequel to this, which is called The Bone Ship's Wake, that I will be planning on reading at near the tail end of March / beginning of April, because that's when the live show is going to be. Probably more likely to be the first week of April for me because I just prefer to read them closer to the live show anyway. I always end up probably not finishing it or finishing it like 2 minutes before the live, but that's how I roll apparently. So this is also on my radar as in the sequel, so that will be at some point near the start of April as well, but I feel like that's probably going to be more like an April thing rather than a March, but I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, so I am going to pick a deity pick just to have one on my radar for March / the start of April. I do feel like I'm really wanting to get through my gifted books and my physical TBR, so I feel like this is going to help. So this mug, I don't know if you remember from a previous video where I unboxed it, but this is from Kendra, who is one of my deities on Patreon. And the crab thing, I'm not going to explain it every time, but basically crabs are my thing, apparently. So we are going to pick from the crab mug. So the crab lord is going to speak, and he is going to give me a book to read. And this is quite funny actually. We have, if I can get it to, we have Liv's pick, which is Spin the Dawn, which is actually quite fitting. If anyone didn't know, Spin the Dawn is actually set in the same universe as Six Crimson Cranes. So I do have the Fairy Loot editions. We have Spin the Dawn and Unraveled Dusk. Beautiful covers, beautiful editions from Fairy Loot. Really glad that I got these alongside Six Crimson Cranes. I just think they look amazing together. So there we have it. We're gonna read Spin the Dawn at some point. It's going to be the next deity pick that I read at the very least. So thank you, Liv, for picking this for me. Yeah, they're actually quite short as well. I feel like they're probably going to be quite fast. Six Crimson Cranes took me no time at all to read. So I have a feeling that these are going to be fast as well. The first one is actually thinner than the second one. I don't know if that's obvious to you guys, but Spin the Dawn is this one. It's thicker than the sequel. So set in the same universe, set in the same kind of magic system thing, etc. I don't fucking know. And there is apparently a character at the end of Six Crimson Cranes that is from this one, so I have a feeling I know who that is. Like, it's kind of, they say a name at the end of Six Crimson Cranes, so I'm like, okay, maybe that's the guy from this. You don't actually need to have read Spin the Dawn first to read Six Crimson Cranes. There's no direct link or sequel there, but there are kind of like some characters and concepts that are mentioned that I think don't really matter personally, and I've heard as well, people have said who've read both, that it doesn't really matter, so I'm actually quite excited to jump into these. So it'll be nice to get a bit more of Elizabeth Lim's writing, and this one's a bit more of like Mulan meets Project Runway, apparently. The girl wants to be a tailor, but because she's a girl, she can't. She disguises herself as a man and travels to the palace in her father's place to compete for the Emperor's favour and the coveted position of Imperial Tailor. So this concept already sounds really good. I have a feeling it's probably going to be along the same lines of Six Crimson Cranes, where it's maybe a little bit obvious with the plot and maybe just not the most, you know, sophisticated plot. But if I know that going in, I'm hoping that I will still have fun because the concept is really cool. So I'm going to be keeping these ones out. I might do a little vlog for it for the channel or something. I think that'll be quite cute. So that'll be good. Thank you, Liv, for giving me a pick. Just before I finish off this video, I know I've had a bit of a ramble and a bit of a rant for you guys, but I'm hoping that this has been kind of a super chill time and a super chill video and just like me talking through my plans kind of for the next like 6 weeks, probably more than a month, like more than the month of March. I do quickly want to say a huge thank you to everyone who sent me something recently. Spoops has sent me 2 books. She sent me The House of Sorrow and Stars and Kings of a Dead World. This one is kind of horror-esque. Someone received an invitation to get to an island where people who have experienced loss. But she's like, oh, I've never experienced loss. And then there's just like shit going weird. It's weird shit. Weird shit going down. And then Kings of a Dead World, I think, is one of those kind of more dystopian types ones. So the Earth's resources are dwindling, the solution is sleep. So inside a hibernating city, Ben struggles with his waking time and the disease stealing his wife from him. So like weird shit happening in that one. And then Caitlin from Books Plus Wine sent me this massive tome, which is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, because I don't have the hardback, so I thought it'd be nice to have the hardback. So it was on my wish list. So now I have the 1st and the 4th one of these. And I don't think you can actually get the 2nd or 3rd in hardback yet, because they did this as a reprint, but I'm hoping they'll reprint the 2nd and 3rd one as well so I can get them. But Caitlin sent me this for St. David's Day because I tweeted saying you should send your Welsh friends a book on St. David's Day. So thank you so much, Caitlin, and thank you so much, Spoops. Spoops, it's just my bestie. I love her so much. Like, just would give it all up for her. Okay, so that is it from me for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm hopefully going to be back to 3 videos a week at some point after March, maybe at the beginning of April, just so I can have that little break for my exam. Like I keep saying, I'm sorry I keep going on about it, but it is scary shit. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I really do appreciate it. So if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like below. Leave me a, oh God, what kind of emoji? I've just been rambling like fuck today. Leave me a little ship emoji if you were here but you didn't really have anything to say but wanted to let me know that you were here. Make sure you subscribe to get all the future content from me in your inbox. All of my links are in the description, including my Patreon if you're interested. If you don't know what goes on my Patreon, then this is what you're missing out on. Noodles. I don't feel like that's enough. It is, yeah. Sometimes if you just put a W instead of an O, it usually like, and just drop some vowels, then it's probably the Welsh for something. Speaking of my Patreon, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone at my deity tier. So that is Becca, Meg, Rachel, Lisa, Lydia, Mercy, Sarah, Tori, Liv, Adinda, Celeste, Britt, Marloose, Kay, Danny, Hannah, William, Chris, Andy, Lauren, Kate, Kendra, Ashley, KW, Frog, Lynn, Amy, Rye, Jenny, Hattie, Katie, and Heather. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!